my left we have the London Eye, to my right we have Big Ben and Westminster. I'm Damon Scotting, and this is Astronomical. Now, before the 60s, it was believed that Venus could have been a tropical paradise like here on Earth. And that's because it's very similar in size to the Earth and also within the outskirts of the Goldilocks zone, which is the region around the Sun where it's not too hot and not too cold, it's just right. And when we observed Venus through a telescope, we couldn't see beyond its thick atmosphere. There was no way to tell what was on the surface of the planet. It was only when we sent spacecraft to Venus to orbit around and take radio images that we saw what was on the surface of this planet. And like Mercury, Earth and Mars, Venus is a rocky planet. Its entire surface is covered in volcanoes. Venus is Earth's sister planet. It is only 638 kilometers smaller than the Earth, and it is our closest neighbor in the solar system. Which means Venus, being the same sort of size as we are, receives just a tiny bit more of sun heat and energy than we do. So the question is, does Venus harbor life like we do on Earth? Well, even though it's not the closest planet to the Sun, Venus is the hottest. In fact, temperatures on Venus can reach as high as 467 degrees Celsius, which is awful. It is scorching hot. If the Earth is a paradise for life, then Venus is hell. The reason Venus is such a hellish world is because of a runaway greenhouse effect. Because it's closer to the Sun, it receives more heat. And what happened was, all of the water evaporated on the surface of the planet, which added more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. In fact, its atmosphere is almost completely carbon dioxide at this point. So any heat that makes it through the dense, thick atmosphere to the ground is not re-radiated back out to space like it is here on Earth. The average temperature here on Earth is 13 degrees Celsius. In fact, right now, it's 9 degrees Celsius. It might look warm, but it's absolutely freezing. Venus, 467 degrees Celsius. The heat is trapped. It cannot escape the planet. So, all of the water that may have been there has completely evaporated and disappeared from the surface. A year on Venus lasts for 225 Earth days, which means it's about 2/3 of the length of our year. But what's interesting is whereas all of the planets in our solar system, excluding Uranus, orbit anti-clockwise, Venus rotates clockwise. And not only that, One sidereal day on Venus lasts 243 Earth days, which means one day on this hellish world lasts longer than its entire year. There is no complex life forms that we could imagine would survive on the surface of Venus, but that doesn't rule out all life on Venus. The surface pressure on the planet is 92 times that here on Earth, which is incredibly intense. Mix that with the dense, suffocating carbon dioxide atmosphere and its scorching hot temperatures, and you're going to struggle, let's face it. But if you ventured high enough from the surface, then the surface pressure would reduce, the temperatures would reduce, and the atmospheric pressure would also reduce, maybe to a point where simple microbial life could exist. So you won't expect to find a dog on Venus, but you might find some of the most simple forms of life. There's potential. People always talk about Mars as being our best chance for life elsewhere in the solar system. Well, let me tell you, there are several options in which there could be life elsewhere in our solar system, and Mars probably isn't even the most promising anymore. It's exciting times to be in a field of space and astronomy and biology and chemistry, you know, just in science in general, because everyone contributes, and that's the beauty of it. Venus is the second brightest object in our night sky, the first being the moon. In fact, the Romans and Greeks thought of it as being two different celestial bodies, and that's because it orbits quicker than we do here on Earth. So there'll be some points where it appear just before sunrise, but then say a month, maybe not even that, later, you'd notice Venus appear just after sunset. So you can see why they thought it was two different bodies. You may often hear Venus referred to as the morning star or the evening star. The Soviet Union's Venera missions to Venus produced the first ever colour images taken of it. In the 60s, Venera 13 landed on the surface of Venus and took these images. The spacecraft itself did not last very long before it stopped communicating. And this isn't because technology back then wasn't very advanced. It's because of the crushing pressure and temperatures on the surface. It couldn't deal with it. But it did manage to achieve some colour images that gave us a taste of what was beneath the dense atmosphere. And it also recorded sounds from Venus. This is the sound from another world. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you were looking for facts to research in order for a school project, then I really hope this helped. Or if you're just watching these videos because you enjoy seeing space images in 8K, then make sure you subscribe, because there are plenty more like this to come. I'm Damon Scotting, and this is Astronomical.